Hey, how's it going? This is the biggest problem that I see in any industry. Oftentimes there's a big portion of people trying to reach mastery in a certain field. When it comes to money, when it comes to women, when it comes to charisma, success in general, people have this inability to improve. And the dating industry honestly has the worst of all these problems, because when guys get into this, they don't understand what it takes to actually improve and get better with women. The classic story is that a guy goes out. He starts doing this because he hears about it. He hears that if you talk enough, you go out, you eventually will become charismatic. But in most cases, the guy will generally go out, maybe approach hundreds of girls, and then give up. And the reason he gives up is because he doesn't feel like he's improving. He feels like he plateaued. He had a point where he could just go out day after day and continue improving. But then he gets to a certain point to where now he's stuck at a ceiling. He can't find any other way to get any better, so he just gives up. There's no way he can get any better because the progress beforehand was so easy. If now it's so difficult, it must be the ceiling. He must not be able to get any better. And this is faulty thinking, and this is what most guys do when they get into this industry. Now, I'm gonna teach you how to break through that ceiling and continue to improve, and not just in game, but in anything in life. And with that being said, let's get into the video.
Yeah, I confess, Father, I confess, 'cause I've been living wrong.
Now, if you've watched my videos, there is one thing that I'm a huge proprietor of, and that is journaling. It is putting pen to paper and thinking things through critically. And I learned this from going out and gaming, from practicing. There's nobody in this industry that didn't get good by simply just approaching, by simply just going out there and putting themselves at it. Every guy that is good in this industry put pen to paper, use field reports. Now, as you write field report after field report after field report, you should start understanding your strengths and weaknesses. What are some examples of weaknesses? Approach anxiety in certain situations. Maybe it's the lack of eye contact or masculine energy. Maybe you approach in an effeminate way, or maybe even a gay way, to keep the girl from rejecting you, or even putting your real personality out there to even get rejected. There are so many different sticking points that you can run against, so many weaknesses, that it gets really tough unless you come to a really good coach on how to continue to improve, on continuing past plateaus and even accelerating past it. And to be honest, most of you guys will never get coaching. So I'm gonna teach you guys how to continue to improve without a coach. So how do I continually improve? Now, this is the reason that not only one, will I become extremely big in this field, but also two, why I'll become the best there ever was. And it's because of this. If I were to come to you right now and ask you how you're fucking up, would you be able to instantaneously tell me what's going wrong? I don't think so. And I'll say this, everybody that's ever gotten good in my field, they know exactly how they're messing up. And not just in dating, not just with girls, but with success, business, friendships, the psychological traps they've put themselves in that they don't even understand. Everybody that's continued to improve and gotten better over a period of time, they knew exactly how they were messing up and they knew how to fix it. So how do you go about fixing a sticking point? Let's say that your sticking point is that you're too nice. You don't know how to be honest or authentic because all you want to do is be this cookie cutter version of a person, a cookie cutter version of yourself, because you're afraid of the adverse reactions of people if you were to actually say your opinions. So how would you go about fixing this? Now, this is called the pendulum. Now, the reason that you are so nice is because you built an entire ego and character around the idea that I am a nice guy. I am a person that doesn't rock the boat. I am somebody that is just congenial, that nobody would ever get angry at. Your lens of the world is filtered through this nice guy frame. So now what you gotta do is you gotta break it. And the way you break it is you gotta push to the opposite end of the spectrum. So the actions feed the character, which feed the action. This is psychology. When you take actions, your ego has to justify the action itself. It's probably gonna procreate more actions that align with that action. And it becomes an engine in upon itself. So what you have to do here is you have to throw the stick into the spoke. You have to break down the system. The way you do that is by changing the action, changing the character. So then this cycle will change and it takes a little bit of effort. So one, you're no longer a nice guy. I want you to look at somebody in the world that's considered a bad boy, and I want you to become that guy for a month. Now, because you become this guy for a month, you're eventually going to find your middle ground here, the place where you can be authentic, because you broke back this character. And now because you broke it back, now you can be yourself. This is called pendulum theory. Now, what's the next way you can break a sticking point? A lot of you guys have approach anxiety. How do you think that I, Julian, or Tyler would think differently than you? Do you think we'd be drawn to approach? Do you think that we would love approaching as opposed to being so terrified of it? Do you think that when I go to work that I love work, or do you think I'm apprehensive? You have to flip the frame. Because if you flip the frame and the ego and the character it's moving through, if you understand it, it's a lot easier to hit the target. If you don't even understand what you're shooting for, if you just have an overall idea, oh, I just want to be more of a workaholic, I want to be able to talk to girls, I want to be able to be charismatic, but you're looking at it through your lens, you don't understand the mental leap you would have to take to get into that arena, you're never going to figure it out. It makes it a lot tougher. You're walking blindfolded towards a target. So understanding this 2.0 version of yourself helps you out so much and gives you a target to shoot for. So if you have a sticking point, how would a different person, again, everybody's cut from the same cloth, how would a different person who has the opposing belief think so that he could do what you want to do? Then you have to start moving your mind in that direction. And again, like I said, journal. You have to constantly think, who am I? What am I? How do I mess up? How am I doing good? How would my 2.0 version of myself handle today differently than I would? So you can start understanding this different character. Now, there's honestly a lot of ways that you can fix a sticking point. And for the most part, there's not enough time in a video. So this is going to come down to a lot of you guys just being creative. How can I fix the sticking point that's holding me back? Now, how do you choose which sticking point you want to work on? Now, here's the problem. If you were to work on every one of your sticking points at the same time, let's say you had a dozen, do you think you would practice any one sticking point that well and fix it? Probably not. It takes a lot of energy to change a habit, to change a character. These things that you do are ingrained. It's who you are. You've been doing this forever. And now you expect to change 12 different habits. Let's say that you had a problem smoking and you're addicted to smoking. Let's say you were trying to quit smoking, get on a diet, and you were also trying to maybe start hitting the gym. You have 3 very difficult habits you're trying to build at the same time. And now they're all draining from your one willpower source. So here's the idea. You want to think to myself, how much willpower is this taking? Now, if you take on 3 sticking points at the same time, you're bleeding off 3 different avenues of willpower. Is this enough willpower to individually fix each one, or is it not? If it's not, you got to narrow it down to 2. And if it's still not enough, you got to narrow it down to 1. Because if you want to fix something and it's that big a deal and you want to actually improve, it has to be this way. You only have so much willpower and you only have so much energy to put into something. But if the amount of energy you put in sticking points is limited, how do you decide which sticking point you want to focus on? Does it fix your other points? Let's say it's just pure confidence. Let's say it's maybe the way you view yourself. Maybe it's approaching itself. Now, if you had a problem with being charismatic or talking forever, fixing your approach anxiety would fix that problem. Being able to approach a lot more because you get a lot more practice and you become more charismatic. But if you are trying to fix the charisma first before you fix the approach anxiety, doesn't one hold back the other? So in that case, you want to work on the approach anxiety. Or maybe it's something that is majorly holding you back. Now, this could be something as a crazy idea that is making you paranoid when you talk to girls. Maybe it's the simple fact that when you talk high up in your nose. You start talking up here as opposed to talking from your chest like a man should. Now, when you talk to a girl, obviously she's going to be repulsed by this and she's not going to want to talk to you to begin with. So if that's the case, you got to start talking from the diaphragm. You got to talk down here instead of up here. And that's the first thing you knock out because it's holding everything else back. If you work on your confidence, yes, it will help, but it's not going to help as much as fixing your voice. And the last point you need to look at is effort to value ratio. If the amount of effort you need to put into something, let's say eye contact is a super easy fix. You just focus on giving eye contact for 3 weeks or so, or a month, and then usually it's a lot easier to do that. With that being said, by fixing something so simple, you have immense value gain off of doing it. So when you look at the value versus effort, obviously eye contact helps a lot. So you want to start focusing on it. Here's the cycle you guys want to look at: action, self-reflection, game plan, and then implement your game plan into your action, and then back into reflection. This is the cycle, and if you use this cycle and you do this correctly, you will continue to improve. The pen and paper project got switched over from the pen and paper project to next gen seduction. I decided that, in all honesty, that this is more in the direction I wanted to take it. So if you guys want to actually join the group, 1, you're going to get infield. 2, you're going to get weekly group calls. We're going to talk casually about how you can improve. I help you out with journaling. I help you out with writing. I help you out with figuring out yourself. If this sounds like something you're interested in, hit me up at dentondating.com. Let me know that you want to join the group.
There ain't never been a time where I wasn't on my grind. Money on my mind, it's the way I've been designed. Lord knows I ain't lying when I say that I try not to focus on the money, but I needed to survive. Need a little for my mom, hard for her to find a job. A little for my pops, just to quit is 9 to 5. A little for my wife, and she never get to shop. And a little for my wrist, and if you want to know why, mama used to tap on my wrist in the aisle. Premonition for the tap on my wrist in the aisle. Take a look back, who they left in that